Hey there, and welcome to Marchborn's Tutorials. Today, we're talking about Business Bookkeeping Spreadsheet. This is Google's Sheet Instruction Tutorial, but Excel version is the same. And you will receive both Excel and Google Sheet version with the purchase. First things first, if you come across a message saying the spreadsheet is protected, don't worry. You won't be able to edit it, and that's okay. Just click on Cancel and you're good to go. Now, head over to the Settings tab to customize your template. This step is crucial because it's connected to other tabs. Before you start working on any tab in the spreadsheet, make sure to update the Settings tab first. Here, you'll need to add your currency symbol. Since this is a text string, you can easily add your currency symbol by simply double-clicking the cell. To find your currency, press the Windows key plus the period key. Go to the currency symbols and choose your symbol. Next, select the start month and year from the calendar. Double-click the cell, and a pop-up calendar will appear. Just select your date. If you're an Excel user, you'll need to manually enter the date, as the pop-up calendar feature is not available in Excel. Keep this in mind. Wherever I mention a pop-up calendar in this spreadsheet, remember that this feature is not supported in Excel. This template supports any start month and year, meaning it works with any country's tax calendar. Whether your tax year runs from January to December, April to March, or July to June, this template has you covered. Let's go ahead and select January 2023 from the calendar. Next is the Income Streams table. Here, you can record your income categories, up to 30 in total. You'll see I've already added some examples like YT AdSense, Shopify, Etsy, Amazon, affiliate marketing, blog ads, and website. Let's add one more, Shopify Shop 2, here. In the same way, the next table is for expense categories, where you can also record up to 30 different expense categories. I've already added some categories here, which include cost of goods, marketing and advertising, internet, electricity, office furniture, business licenses and permits, shipping, purchases, charity, and salary. Next, you'll want to add your profit goals for each month. This is where you plan your expected profit. The months are auto-populated based on the start month you selected earlier. Your annual profit goal will automatically update, summing up all the monthly profit goals. All steps are covered for the Settings tab. Now that that's done, let's move on to the Income Tracker. This is where you'll record all your business income transactions. You can record as many transactions as needed. We'll dive deeper into this later in the video. The columns in this section include date, ID/SKU, product/service, income category, total income, sales tax, net income, and notes. Date. Double-click the cell to open the pop-up calendar and select the date. ID/SKU. Enter the product ID or SKU. If you don't have an ID or SKU, you can leave this blank. Product/service. Enter the product or services sold. This column is optional, so skip it if not required. Category. Select the category from the drop-down. This drop-down is linked to the Settings tab, so if you need to add more categories, head back to the Settings tab and add them there. Don't try to add them directly in this column. Total income. Enter the total income earned from the transaction. Sales tax. Enter the tax amount. Net income. This is automatically calculated as total income minus sales tax. Notes. Use this column to write any additional information or notes about the transaction. Leave it blank if you don't have anything to add. Let's add some examples here. Select the date January 1st, 2023 from the calendar. Write ID as YT1 and product/service as YT Channel 1. Select YT AdSense from the drop-down. Total income received is $2,000. Tax is 0 for now, so net income will be $2,000. Similarly, record all your income transaction here. Now, let's move on to Expense Tracker, which works similar like Income Tracker. The columns in this section include date, invoice ID, description, category, total expense, sales tax, net expense, and notes. Date. Double-click the cell to open the pop-up calendar and select the date. Invoice number. Enter the invoice number here. If you don't have an invoice number, you can leave this blank. Description. Enter the product or services purchased. This column is optional, so skip it if not required. Category. Select the category from the drop-down. This drop-down is linked to the Settings tab, so if you need to add more categories, head back to the Settings tab and add them there. Don't try to add them directly in this column. Total expense. Enter the total expense spend in the transaction. Sales tax. Enter the tax amount. Net expense. This is automatically calculated as total expense minus sales tax. Notes. Use this column to write any additional information or notes about the transaction. Leave it blank if you don't have anything to add. Let's add some examples here. Select the date, January 2nd, 2023, from the calendar. Leave the invoice number blank. For the description, enter digital campaign. The expense category is marketing and advertising. The total expense spent is $500 and tax is $5, so the net expense is automatically calculated as $495. Similarly, you can record all your expense transactions here. I've already recorded examples in the income and expense tracker for the tax year January 2023 to December 2023, so you can see how the annual dashboard and monthly dashboard work. Now, let's go to the annual dashboard. This is a total annual summary of income, expenses, profit, and profit margin. Here, you can see the total monthly income and expense chart to monitor and analyze your monthly income versus expenses and trends. This chart shows the annual expense breakdown, displaying the percentage spent on each expense category. Next is the profit chart and trend line to monitor each month's profit and the overall profit trend. This income breakdown chart shows the percentage of income coming from each income category. This chart compares your annual profit goal with the actual total profit. Here, you can see how many products were sold under each income category. Finally, the last chart is the profit margin chart. Let's scroll down. But before moving to the income overview table, here's a little tip to keep your dashboard looking neat and clean. Hide any rows that are extra or blank. To do this, simply select all the blank rows, right-click, and choose Hide Rows. Don't worry, you can always unhide them later when you add more categories. Now, you'll see the income category table, which shows the net income of each category by month. Below that, you'll find the expense summary table, displaying the net expenses for each category by month. Scroll further down, and here we can find the monthly profit, profit margin, and year-to-date profit. Next, let's move to the monthly dashboard. Select the month here in B9 from the drop-down to see an overview of your monthly income and expenses. Here, you can monitor income categories, including total income, tax, and net income. The table beside is for expense categories, showing total expenses, tax, and net expenses. Now, moving up to the chart section, the first chart displays monthly income versus monthly expenses. The next chart is the expense breakdown, showing the percentage of spending on each expense category. Next, you'll find the profit goal versus actual profit chart, and finally, the expense summary chart, which shows the amount spent on each expense category. That's it for the monthly overview. Next, let's move to the final tab, the Sales Tax Dashboard. This fully automated tab shows tax collected versus tax paid. You'll see a table summarizing the annual tax collected, tax paid, and the difference. Another table breaks down the tax collected versus tax paid for each month, with a corresponding chart visualizing the data. Now, the next question is, how do you reuse this sheet for the next tax year? As I mentioned earlier in the income tracker explanation, you can record any number of transactions here. This is why it's so flexible. Here's how you can do it. Go to the Settings tab and change the start month to the next year. For example, if your current start month is January 2023, you'll change it to January 2024. If you selected July 2023, then the next tax start month will be July 2024. After that, re-enter your profit goals, and you're all set to record and monitor your financials for the next year. Simply record the income and expense transactions on the last blank line and continue monitoring your annual and monthly financials. See here, an annual dashboard is blank because I haven't recorded the transaction yet, but when you record, you will see summary here. This concludes our instructions. We hope you enjoyed and found our video as well as the template helpful. Please stay tuned for more products.